Those against the knee, the eyes have it.
Our journey has been steady from the advent. With crystal clear vision, we started off as a news online portal. We subsequently evolved into a magazine, and now on your radio. We do not only bear the name Media House. We practice with the best ethos of our professional calling, presenting facts with objectivity. We are committed and resolute. We are HallowMace. We are the standard bearers. It's HallowMace on radio, dedicated to promotion of legislature, democracy, and good governance. It's hot, interactive, educating, engaging, and entertaining. HallowMace on radio, Thursdays, 10 a.m. on Armed Forces Radio, 107.7 FM. HallowMace on radio, Parliament, brought to the people. Brought to the people. Beautiful morning to you. This is HallowMace on radio. We are glad to have you join us on this edition of the program. Last week we told you that the countdown to the 10th Assembly at 1 has begun for us on radio on HallowMace. By 13th of June, it will be a Thursday, 28 days now to the date. We've been on the concept of assessing the performance of the 10th Assembly at 1. Someone would want to say it's not too early to start the conversation that way. Bob Genesis, the Gospel Toucher Cousin on radio, remains my name. We still continue with the countdown to the 10th National Assembly at 1. On this edition of the program, I have with me Right Honorable Frederick Agbebi, member representing Ekeremo Sagbama Federal Constituency of Bayelsa State. He's also the chairman, House Committee on FCT Area Councils and Auxiliary Matters. Thank you for joining us, Honorable.
Thank you. Good morning, listeners.
We also have with us Dr. Gabriel Nwambu. He is the Executive Director, Center for Credible Leadership and Citizens Awareness. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, good morning and thanks for having me.
Subsequently, Taye joined us. He is a Blueprint newspaper chief correspondent reporter with the National Assembly. If it comes through, we will have a moment together. I would have started conversations already, but I'm thinking Nigerians are not happy. And if I have an honorable member, let's start on that one before we begin the countdown. Yesterday, the announcement of 48,000 by the federal government in respect to our new minimum wage proposal that we're looking at. NLC became angry, TUC became angry, and they had to leave. What do you think Nigerians should be expecting?
Well, you see this in every negotiation. Parties may agree or disagree. Okay. And they have disagreed because they feel dissatisfied with the amount proposed. And not only that they expected that the amount should have been justified, for them to be able to query which aspect, of the tranches, that has been aggregated to give that total 48,000 naira that was expected. So it's an unfortunate situation, but I can tell you that, when the executive and unions eventually don't agree, the National Assembly is always there to broker truce, particularly the House of Representatives. We've not gotten there yet, but I think that at the appropriate time, the Right Honorable Speaker, Dr. Bas Tajuddin, will wade in, and we're sure that we're going to get, the executive and NLC TUC agree on the way forward because it's good for Nigeria.
Very true. Honorable is already giving me hope, so let me be happy to start this program correctly, cousin. Are you aware that the National Assembly of Nigeria is made up of the Senate and the House of Representative members? This is one journey that has been on, and someone says we're already getting to 20 years of conversations, or over 20 now, since 1999.
Yeah.
Now, Honorable Member, I would want to ask you what we asked last week. Now, it will be different because you are in the House.
Yeah.
We took the question of what can we say the National Assembly, the 10th National Assembly has done with the concept of 1 year in a bit by 13th June. Are you comfortable? Are you satisfied with the journey so far?
To be satisfied is always something that you can take from a perspective of who is, expressing himself. As a member, if you ask whether we are satisfied, what would be my judgment? Would I degrade myself? I may not. Would I degrade my house? I will not. Would I degrade the National Assembly? Yes, but in any movement, in any organization, there may be achievements, there may be shortcomings, there may be shortfalls. But to the extent that we're about 1 year, which is going to be sometime in June 13, I think that the Assembly has stepped up to our billing, particularly even from the fact that we were in makeshift chambers, which impeded robust legislative activities. And by the dexterity of the Right Honorable Speaker, last week, we were able to move back to our main chambers, even though it's still work in progress. But that is a very major achievement because every member, every parliamentary activity will now be optimized, in ensuring that we deliver our best in this 10th Assembly. And the Speaker has exactly, precisely defined this Assembly as the 10th House of Representatives, particularly in the House of Representatives, so that whatever we do, we can be held accountable as 1 4 years tenure of Assembly, not just from 1999 to 2027, and which is remarkable. And it's following the agenda, the 10th National Assembly agenda that the Speaker brought about, which was a contribution of members of the House of Reps to fruition. You can see that it's meticulously following the agenda to ensure that at every bit of the way, you achieve what the agenda has prescribed that should be achieved by this National Assembly.
I think we could talk some more on the concept of the agenda of the 10th Assembly. I realized sometimes December 30th, there were about over 900 bills that the House was talking in respect to coming through, and the motions around 500. Maybe we'll take that one after the order. But let me speak to Dr. Gabriel Nwambu. Thank you once again for coming. I think that the simple question we would want to start with, which might not have a simple answer from you now, is the concept of your assessment of the 10th Assembly so far.
Well, thank you so very much. For us, we tinker alongside with the populace of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Our sense of discourse might differ from, the members of the National Assembly. We tend to say it as it is, from the prism of the Nigerian populace. You see, let's start from the National Assembly. When they just came in, it was inaugurated, and they had to appropriate to themselves acquisition of SUVs that are meant for to be bought for 160 million each. You see, a lot of Nigerians were not happy about it. There was uproar. Nigerians complained bitterly. You see, especially coming from the angle of Nigerians have been told to, ensure that there is sacrifice. That this is a sacrifice we are going through, to be able to come out to in a better Nigeria.
Go ahead.
To be able to ensure that our economy, awakens. So Nigerians have tightened their belt, with the belief that the sacrifice will be done by, every person that is a Nigerian, irrespective of the fact that the person is elected to represent Nigerians or not. You see, but in spite of the fact that Nigerians said they wouldn't be happy with that, especially coming from the fact that if you look at Nigerian state, 130 million Nigerians, which represents 63% of Nigerians, are living, within the multi-dimensional poverty. I'm telling you, this is a statistic that has taken place about 2 years ago. So if you make a fresh statistic now, it is worse. You have more people, in fact. So we expected that the members of the National Assembly will tinker and reason, especially coming from the fact that they are, elected by the people to represent their own interest.
Yes, sir.
So we feel that in spite of all the uproar, raised by Nigerians, they still went ahead and made the purchase of 160 million each for every House of Rep members, and the Senate. The Senate is made up of 109 senators, and the House of Assembly 360. So you make a cumulative and multiply by 160 million, and you see the whopping sum. And especially when we look at the fact that the appropriation, some of us believe that appropriation to have those SUVs contravenes very clearly the provision of the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission. It contravenes it. They are not entitled, to have SUV, operational vehicle. They are entitled to be given a loan. If we are going by the 2000, in fact, the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission is expected to be coming out with, updates of remuneration of all public office holders and all that. And going by the 2007, when they last published, it contravenes clearly. And we do not know what is really happening. If they are Nigerians and they feel the same pulse like us, we feel they should tinker and reason alongside with us.
Now, look at what I'm thinking, Dr. Gabriel. I have the honorable member around with us here. I know that has been one matter that at the point Nigeria had to let go because it was in the public space. We kept talking. And it's like everybody feels that when we talk to a point, we are done. We might just take it like that. Would you want to react to the submissions of Dr. Gabriel Nwambu?
Oh, fantastic. First, let me let you know that I was first elected to the House of Reps in 1992. We started the government in Abuja.
Okay.
So I have institutional knowledge of what goes around in the National Assembly. And this issue of SUVs and all that, there are issues that we have engaged severally. I can assure you that the impression we have in the public is different from what exactly is procured in the National Assembly.
Okay.
There is no National Assembly member that rides home a free SUV. Never.
So what can we say about
every vehicle a National Assembly member is given is paid for by the National Assembly member.
Okay.
It's deducted from your allowances. And at the end of the day, that car is assessed, the balance cost that it's worth at the end of your 4 years, and you pay back from your severance.
Okay.
So it's not a free car that is being given to National Assembly members. Unlike the executive arm of government, where you have the number of vehicles to a minister, to a DG, to a whatever, and you ride home with those vehicles. We pay to the last kobo. And the National Assembly does not assess the value of the car at the end of the 4 years.
Okay.
It is the authorities that assesses it, and they deduct it from your last monies.
Okay.
Your severance allowance. So when Nigerians keep saying you are being given flashy cars, Nigerians are suffering and all that, we pay for this vehicle. They are not free vehicles.
But would you think that was wisdom by the National Assembly, considering the fact that Nigerians have been told to sacrifice? Wouldn't that have been other options, not going over that kind of amount?
That itself is a sacrifice. That you are paying for your official vehicle.
Okay.
It's a sacrifice. You should understand that.
It's the amount that is challenging.
No, it's not about it.
Okay.
If it was given to you without payment, it's understandable that you are taking Nigeria's revenue home. But in this case, you are paying to the last kobo.
Okay.
That's why sometimes when they value it, you may not even go back home with any money. If what you are supposed to be paid at the end of the day equals the value of the vehicle and other things that you are supposed to take home, they will deduct that money, and that's the end of you. So Nigerians should understand that we are not driving on free cars. We are not driving on cars that are given to National Assembly members from the purse of the government that the government does not get back the monies from. If you want to talk about, okay, these monies are deducted, how are they accounted for? That question goes to the executive arm of government. It's not for the parliament to answer. But I can assure you that there is no government official at the level of National Assembly that should not be entitled to government facilities to discharge their responsibilities. If you look at the protocol list, after the president and the vice president is the National Assembly. After the president and the vice president is the National Assembly. But can you compare a National Assembly member and what he gets to a minister who is below the National Assembly? Can you compare the extent of work we do? I close from my office 7, 8, 9 p.m. At the end of sitting around 2, 3 in the afternoon, I go into 3, 4 meetings, committee meetings, for the betterment of Nigeria, to discharge my responsibilities as a member of the House of Representatives. And by the time I get home, I'm exhausted. We are the first line charge people to our constituents.
Very true.
How many of us can reach Mr. President? And every day, you are an ATM. You are a POS. Sometimes even our blood is drawn from US. Because wherever your constituent is, wherever anybody identifies you as a politician, they have access to your POS, they have access to your ATM. And so they plug it. Sometimes when there's no cash, blood will be dispensed. That's what we are.
I think we're just getting started, cousin, right? You possibly might be part of this conversation. Let me talk to you. You will reach us on 0909-752-9699. The conversation is just getting started. And for us, we will want to make sense of this particular edition. You can be part of the conversation by asking questions or contributing to by calling the numbers 0909-752-9699. Honorable Betty has said so much. We will want to still follow up on questions, but I have with us, Taye just joined us. Welcome to the building. He just came through. What happened?
Thank you.
You didn't join us early.
Sorry, I was head up in traffic.
Okay. Taye Odewale is National Assembly's Blueprint newspaper chief correspondent. We are on the countdown to the first anniversary, around 1 year of the National Assembly, the 10th National Assembly. And we are looking at the journey so far. What would be your assessment?
Well, my assessment is that the journey so far for the 10th National Assembly is not all that bad. I think by now they have stabilized after the rat race for leadership at both chambers. They have drawn up their legislative agenda. But what I just want to point out to them is that agenda or no agenda, the opportunity is now for them to do the best as far as constitutional review exercise is concerned. Because the past assembly made cosmetic review that has little or no impact on the abnormality. We are running as a federation. So this is the time for the 10th National Assembly to make a difference. So that is just what I just want to advise them. This is the time for them to make a difference with that exercise.
Now, we are looking at what Nigerians are going through. Recently, the electricity tariff hike just came in and is hitting at us, Nigerians. Mr. President made his inaugural statement or speech 29th of May, and everybody was looking out for Nigerians to be lifted or brought out of extreme poverty. But at the moment, while you were speaking, help me with the mic, let it get to Dr. Gabriel. You would have realized that Nigerians are not smiling. And that is why with the announcement of 48,000 for the new minimum wage, Nigerians are feeling, is this a joke? Would you think that the 10th Assembly is doing something in respect to laws making, oversight functioning and all of that to be sure that Nigerians are giving comfort?
Thank you once again. You see, with reference to functionality, dispensing their constitutional functions as legislatures, I wouldn't fail to mention very clearly that there are rep members, there are senators who have distinguished themselves in terms of the discharge of their duty as National Assembly members, those that are elected by the populace to represent them. And one of them is seated here, the Right Honorable that is Agbebi, that is representing Kremo Federal Constituency in the National Assembly. He is a ranking House of Rep member, and he has demonstrated leadership, as it were. These are the kind of persons who opine that we want to keep representing us all the time. But we must not fail to say the issues the way they are. We are looking at collective responsibility now. The National Assembly, as it were. The National Assembly have tried in terms of oversight functions. They've been able to identify, for instance, this issue of taxes that are supposed to be paid by banks, that the banks have, nicodemously, channeled to customers to be paying. The House of Rep especially has, noticed it and have issued that thing will be that bill should be looked at again. This is the kind of things we like in Nigeria. This is people-oriented representation, as it were. Now, but you see, what we see is that all the time, the taxes in Nigeria tend to be taxing Nigerians to death. I mean, it's suffocating. Let the poor breathe. Each time you see taxes coming up, you see prices, you see the price of PMS and all petroleum products is like a network. It affects everything. The woman who goes to the bush market to buy wares and foodstuffs to sell, it affects, everything you can think of. But does wages, minimum wage and salaries, does it increase in that same percentage? Definitely no. You see, so you see that the ordinary Nigerian, right now, we do not have the middle class. The middle class of Nigerian, when you commence an analysis to segment, the affordability rate, there is nothing like middle class in Nigeria anymore. It is between the rich and the poor. The middle class has been eroded by multi-dimensional inflation. So what are we saying? We are saying that although we believe that the National Assembly is doing its best in terms of the representation, they are trying as much as possible, as within the ambits of the law. But we still believe that it is work in progress, and we expect them to do more.
Okay. 0909-752-9699. I think I can give you an opportunity now, cousin, on radio to be part of this conversation by asking your questions or making your contributions as we take a look at the 10th Assembly at 1. 0909-752-9699. You keep your contribution 60 seconds. Good morning, cousin.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Bob.
Good morning. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Chief Eze.
Chief Eze, welcome aboard. Talk to us, please.
Yes, thank you very much. I want to congratulate the honorable members within the parliament to talking about our documents together.
Thank you.
We are talking about minimum wage. And up till now, we do not know, and me in particular, do not know who set the salary for the National Assembly members, and what they learn that when they see, they take some money home. How much do they take home? What is the salary? Please, can we know? Nigerians want to know. Please, thank you.
Okay, Chief Eze, I heard that. I should allow you to respond, but I'm thinking that we will continue with this conversation some more, because while you were talking, you said Nigerians have made the honorable members as POS or ATM machines, and sometimes when they come for withdrawals and he's not there, it's the blood.
Yes.
And for me, what would you think is the right thing we need to do so that Nigerians are satisfied? But to have you answer this man and then put this together to how much is the take-home pay for the National Assembly members. But hold that first. Let me pick 2-3 callers, because I think I'll have more today, and then we relate this conversation. Thank you for joining us.
Hello.
Yeah, you're welcome, cousin. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Good morning, I'm Forces Radio. My name is Yusuf.
Yusuf, where are you calling us from?
Yes, I'm calling from Kuji.
Go ahead, Yusuf.
Thank you. I just caught up the discussion in the middle when the National Assembly rep was talking about the vehicle they normally get, they pay for it.
Yes.
Sincerely, I'm hearing this for the first time.
Okay.
And it is very, very amazing to me that they are paying for those vehicles. But I'm happy that while he was speaking, the journalist from a newspaper came in into your studio. I think there's the need for him, the journalist, to investigate that comment and make it public so that people will understand.
Okay.
That these people we are glorifying every time that they are taking our money to buy.
Sorry about that, cousin.
Because I don't know.
Thank you so
I
much.
don't know, and I believe a lot of Nigerians don't know that they pay for those vehicles and other amenities.
Thank you so
There's
much.
a need for them to make it public, but just not public.
All right.
Prove it with facts and figure.
Okay.
That whatever they are giving, pay for it. That would be very good for them.
Thank you, Yusuf. We appreciate. Now, this is what we do. Authentic information is what we serve you here. HallowMace is talking about authenticity when we are having conversation. So let's take you up from the submission. We will get, producer, I said 3 calls. So, honorable member, let me still, before you react, and then I have my cousins still join. Good morning.
Good morning.
Your name and where you're calling from?
Thank you. This is Frederick calling you from Jabi.
Frederick, go on, please.
Okay, my namesake.
Honorable namesake, yes, sir.
First time calling you station.
Thank you so much.
Forgive me when I say things.
Okay, you might need to keep it moderate.
Most Nigerians don't trust politicians. All the politicians representing them anymore. Now let me tell you, Taye comes out of assembly. Presently, as I'm talking to you, with the whole thing going on presently in Nigeria, I feel the citizens of this country do not have representation. First of all, what is the purpose of the legislative arm of government? Are they carrying out their functions? Can you see how the executive right Nigerians, plenary? What are these people? Who are they representing? That is what we are talking about first.
Okay. Now, Frederick, yeah, I can hear you. You know, I said 60 seconds so that other people will have access to it.
Sorry.
Thank you. So, 60 seconds. Now, I'm trying to put 1 and 2 together. You are reacting to the first question from Chiveze. How much take-home salary does the honorable member have or will take? And then you react to what Yusuf from Kuje was talking on. For them, until today, they didn't know that you pay for whatever it is you are having.
Thank you.
And then you conclude with this, your namesake is feeling is no representation that we're having.
Thank you. Well, like I would say, our salaries are also fixed by the revenue mobilization, RAMFAC, and it is what they fix that we get. Now, sometimes when Labour started asking for 600 and something thousand as minimum wage, I say, maybe they know what National Assembly is receiving. We receive about 1 million naira. By the time they deduct your car loans, your rentage, house rent, your furniture allowance, and all that, it drops to about 640 something thousand. That is the take home of a member of parliament. And it's sacrosanct. You can see it in any platform. Everybody has that alert in his phone.
We were thinking it's a lucrative business.
That's one bit of it. The other bit is that the National Assembly, particularly the House of Reps, we have always prided ourselves as the people's house. And we always stand with the house. When there are certain policies from executive arm of government that we feel that will hurt the public, the masses, our people, we stand up against such policies. And that's why you see motions, you see robust debates, you see matters of urgent public importance, you see investigations, you see motions halting implementation of certain policies when we know that these policies will hurt the masses that we represent. Take, for example, in 1992, when I came to the House of Reps, the military government knew that the National Assembly was going to be inaugurated in 1992. And they started building about 700 duplexes for members. They abandoned these houses at lintel level. We were elected and were lodged in then Nikon Noga Hilton Hotel, Sheraton and all that. Hebrew was the least hotel we were lodged. And in these hotels, you can sign the hotel and take to your community, take to your village. Nobody will ask you any question. So it was in the interest of the National Assembly, the House of Reps, to rise up to the occasion that how can we be wasting our country's scarce resources? And then we now prescribed. At that time, the government was to build Sofitel Hotel, which is now Nikon Luxury or something. To construct complete that Sofitel Hotel for National Assembly members to move into one single room was 3 times completing their poor quarters you see today. And so we decided that instead of spending 3 times more than what a poor quarter 700 buildings was going to cost, go and complete those buildings so that we will move over to those buildings. That is how the poor quarters was completed. Oh. And then we said, instead of people signing, pay every member 5,000 a day. So you pay your hotel bill, your feeding, your laundry services, your transport, anything you want to do is within the 5,000 naira. That was what it is until the military intervened after about 1 year, and the assembly exited. What are we talking about? I'm giving these instances because we feel the pain of the people more. We are the people directly available to our constituents. Not most of those people who move with routine of security people. I don't move with security. I don't have security. If I have security, I have to pay. How much money do I have to pay the security? So we are gullible. That's the truth of the matter. And as a member, you will be elected by your people, by your performance. If you are not performing, how will the people elect you? I can always tell you that there is a difference between playing with your constituents with cash and doing practical development. The practical development of projects is enduring. You can always make reference to it. You can immortalize your name with it. You can speak to the people, and for what the people see, they can vote for you. But give somebody 10,000 today. By the evening when the 10,000 is finished, he will even tell the next person that you gave him nothing. So for you to be an enduring legislature, other than being the floor general, other than doing the work in such a way that it will add value to governance, you should also ensure that you are practical in your activities back in your constituency. And I can tell you, I go to my constituency without 1 penny in my pocket. And that's the test of trust. I can go around my constituency without half a dime in my pocket. But I tell you, at the end of the month, or by tomorrow, or by next tomorrow, send me your account, reach me that, and I keep those promises. That is the understanding that your constituents will have when you are close to them, you are with them. As to salaries, I've answered that question. As to the issue of we are not representing them, well, of course, that is your opinion. That is his opinion. But I can tell you, Nigeria is better today because you have the legislature. Okay. Because where there are no checks and balances, of course, you know that one organ will overrun the people. And that's where we are.
Dr. Gabriel, I feel like asking you this with the concept of check and balances that the honorable member just responded. Would you think that it has always been in the public space that we talk more on the concept of rubber stamp National Assembly most times? Maybe because we've not seen them, could we say, impeach a president and all of that? So what would you think in respect to this 10th Assembly? Are you already seeing them in that light of a rubber stamp assembly?
Thank you once again. You see, I want to make it very clear that the major distinction between autocracy or military regime and democracy is the legislature. A lot of people do not know what legislature actually stands for. We've been around for a while now, and we know what transpired during the junta regimes. The courts were working, the judiciary was there, Then the head of state, functions just like a legislature. He appoints people, he appoints ministers. So the executive arm is functional. The only thing that is not there as at that time is the legislature. And that is the distinction between autocracy and pure democracy. Now, we should not joke with legislation in this country. It is pertinent we know the imperatives, the importance of the legislative arm of government, because that depicts democracy. So, your question
Robert Stamp.
You see, the legislature, the 10th National Assembly right now, for us, we do not believe that there are rubber stamps.
Okay.
Because there are instances, which I can start mentioning now, where they have opposed, the executives openly. And that is the beauty of democracy. And you see, that does not also generate witch hunting. So I also say kudos to the president and commander-in-chief for not, unleashing vendetta or trying to witch hunt, a member of the National Assembly, who has opposed an idea or a bill, from the executive arm of government. You see, there must be. We know that there in terms of the three arm of government, they have to function independently.
Okay.
But they must be. They must also work together for the interest of the generality of the country.
Okay.
You see, some persons might want to say that they must be aggressive, they must keep fighting, and that is the only way. No, that is not how it is expected to function. So far, we do not believe that the National Assembly is a rubber stamp, especially the 10th National Assembly. If you talk about the 9th one, I might say
we're still with the 10th for now.
So
Thank you, Mr. Gabriel.
has performed creditably well.
All right. Now, I'd like you to collaborate with what the honorable member said. Until today, and I feel that after this radio broadcast today, Honorable Frederick, they will talk more of what you have done to us, because it looks as if Nigerians were not aware how much the National Assembly members were taking home. So I'm loving it. Blueprint correspondent, you've been with the National Assembly. Would you be able to collaborate the submission of honorable member?
Yes, I will be able to collaborate his submission on vehicles given to them, paid for.
Okay.
I've been reporting the National Assembly, Senate in particular, since 2008.
Okay.
And I know that when a new session comes in, the management of the National Assembly deemed me fit to give them operational vehicle, which I know that at the end of the day, we have carried out investigation and discovered that each member or each of the senators, there are 469 altogether, they pay for the vehicle given to them within the 4-year frame line. So what he said is right. I think it has to be well reported so that Nigeria will know that those vehicles are not just free of charge.
So after all, it's not a lucrative business as most Nigerians are thinking. Let me see if I can talk with this cousin.
If you allow me,
let me hear this cousin, then I'll allow you to talk some more. Honorable member, good morning.
Hello.
Yeah, good morning. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, good morning. I'm calling from Masaka. My name is Augustine.
Augustine, how is Masaka this morning, please?
That's how it's done.
All right, let's hear you quickly so that I'll allow honorable member finish up on that conversation.
My question is, you see, these members to be coming to the houses like this and the National Assembly, especially on the aspect of this issue of there are so many things that are shrouded secrecy that the public don't know. You need to see them as people that just get money freely and they just use it the way they want. If we can have members like this that will be coming and be educating the public to see, even pressure will be less on them.
Thank you so much.
That is my own.
Okay. I appreciate Austin. Thank you.
The time and be coming and be educating people.
All right.
So that people will really know what is happening.
Thank you so much, Austin. I appreciate 60 seconds. I'm running on that conversation. Yeah, honorable.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to take a dimension, and that dimension is particularly on these issues of constituency projects.
Yes, sir.
The other additional belief Nigerians have is that monies are put in the pockets of honorable members. They spend it the way they wish. Yes, we spend it, but we only spend it by appropriation. Okay. No National Assembly member has access to constituency 1 naira cash.
Okay.
It does not. You only identify projects in your communities, in your constituencies, according to the amount of money allocated to your constituency. Take, for example, from Bayelsa, we are just 5.
Okay.
And so maybe if you appropriate 1.5 billion, maybe each member in the House of Reps and in the Senate may have 200 million or thereabout. That is your constituency intervention project. And what you are entitled to do is to appropriate this 200 million into the number of projects you want that should be executed in that financial year. And you pass this to appropriation. Once you pass that appropriation bill, it becomes executive property. Executive arm of government takes over that document, and the implementation is their responsibility. As to procurement, as to award of contract, as to execution of contract, as to supervision of contract, as to certification of completion, is their responsibility. It's taken off completely the hands of every member of the National Assembly. As a member of National Assembly, if you want to follow through, then you take your own responsibility to be inspecting those projects, so that you see that the contractor who is awarded that project performs. We have said this a number of times in our interaction with our constituents, one-on-one, face-to-face, eyeball to eyeball. But Nigerians will never agree that this money is not in your pocket. You know, the other bit is that when executive awards these contracts and the contractors don't perform, how much can you hold them responsible? I had cause to petition 3 contractors. In fact, as I speak, I'm still in a running battle with a contractor in National Border Boundary Commission, or Border Commission or something. You know, on a project, a school innovation project, that the contractor had not been able to perform. And if you want to represent your people, you follow up to ensure that the contractor does not run away with whatever that is due your people. But Nigerians will never believe that this is what goes on. They just believe that you pocket this money, you spend it the way you want, you give to whoever you want, you know, that is never true. And so when there was a time, ICPC was going over seeing projects in my constituency. And they called me to say, ICPC, that there are solar lights, you didn't implement them. I said, no, the communities you are calling, I don't have solar light projects there, so I don't have any business with you. I say, in any case, if you suspect that any of my project is not performed, go to the ministry that awarded the project. Because I don't award project. I don't choose contractor.
Okay.
It's the ministry, agency, parastatal that awards contracts and executes the contract and pay the contractors. So if you go there, you will find the name of the contractor, you will find the cost of the project, you know the location of the project, you know the status of the project, and you can follow through with that. But if for any reason the ministry says, I am the contractor, then you can come back to me. You know, these are issues that Nigerians need to know and believe that the way they think is not the way the assembly is. Again, if you have an encounter, I can bet anybody, if you have an encounter in the National Assembly, by the time you finish at the end of the day, you will say kudos to National Assembly. You will say, oh, I don't know that this is how you people work. From morning till night, from one meeting to the other. You can cross-examine people, you can engage people, you can direct to reverse certain decisions that due process was not followed, that you have all this kind of capacity working through the day. You'll be shocked at that. But even all that, you still have to create time for your constituents, who may come in without telling you that they are in Abuja, who will come in without calling you to say that this is their problem. That somebody that you saw in your constituency, in your community, the next moment will meet you in your office in Abuja and said, I came because I want to see you. But I just left the constituency.
I should hear that some more, cousin. Dr. Gabriel, while you spoke, you were very absolute to say that the 10th Assembly should not be called rubber-stamped. But some individuals are feeling that the Senate is a rubber stamp. What can you say to them?
Well, it depends on the definition. It's a relative term. You know, it depends on the definition of what the person calls a rubber stamp. If an understanding that propels democracy, an understanding that depicts transparency and accountability is what people feel is synonymous with being a rubber stamp, I think so be it. Okay. Because the interest really is to ensure the functionality of the Nigerian democracy, as it were. For the 10th National Assembly, I am saying unequivocally, so far, in the last 1 year, we do not know if they will retreat, and change.
But for now,
after now, but for now,
You
they
can't call them
are
rubber stamp.
performing creditably well and in consonance with the yearnings and aspirations of the common Nigeria.
You're just joining us. The program is HallowMace on radio. We're glad that we are having this conversation with you, and you're doing well to reach us on 0909-752-9699. Quite a number of calls are coming through. I have Right Honorable Frederick Agbebi, member representing Ekeremo Sagbama Federal Constituency of Bayelsa State. He's also the chairman, House Committee on FCT, Area Councils and Auxiliary Matters. Dr. Gabriel Nwambu, Executive Director, Center for Credible Leadership and Citizens Awareness. Also with us is Taye Odewale, National Assembly's Blueprint newspaper chief correspondent. I call myself your cousin on radio. Now, I want to come to the honorable member. We need to assess your performance in the FCT. It's good that you blow your trumpet yourself, but I've had Dr. Gabriel collaborate your conversation as you're doing well. He would wish that more members are doing the way you're working. So, but let me ask this question, but somebody is insisting he wants me to take them on. Good morning, cousin.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, please.
Good morning. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
I'm Nathaniel, calling from Massacre.
Nathaniel, you might turn the volume down so that we have you clearly. How is Massacre?
Abuja is fine. Abuja is fine.
Go on, please. 60 seconds.
Okay, I just want to appreciate you for the program.
Thank you, cousin.
And your invited guests, I think they are eloquent. They are really thrown light to some of the confusion that is training in the mind of common Nigerians. So I appreciate all of them. I don't know their name, but they are so eloquent. I want to appreciate them.
Okay. Thank you so much.
I don't have time. I want to talk about two things.
Okay.
Three. One, the labor and the salary that the federal government has agreed upon. I think it is so bad. We are living with EU government staff, called federal government workers. They look so pleasant. I mean, really, in Nigeria, we as a president, and we have hope in Nigeria, and really they know that there is hope for Nigeria. They should be realistic.
Okay.
And nobody at this kind of present dispensation can fix either 48,000 for their wives. Most of these people, the amount they release for their family every weekend for stew and for soup.
Yeah, cousin, so you see? All right, I think I should appreciate you at this point so that they don't say cousin is selling fish on radio now. I said 60 seconds, you made your point, but you needed to talk some more with 2 or 3 things. I understand that he's not comfortable with the 48,000. Honorable member, I wanted to ask you how your performance has been, but let's take up from what he said. At some point, I'm not going to give a cheap popularity. My executive producer would allow me to do this. One of the dish companies, MultiChoice, at some point increased their tariff, and Nigerians are not smiling. Electricity tariff, again, NLC had to come home. Now, I appreciate that you are representing correctly. At this point, you find that nothing is making sense for the common Nigerian. While Dr. Gabriel was talking, is either the rich or the poor. So I'm looking at what you will say to Nigerians to help us have an understanding. Should we be looking out for something that the House members will do to be able to regulate some of these people? Why are they always having a free day? They come today, put up things, and nobody is challenging it.
Yeah, I think I've been around for quite a while, and for in a number of assemblies. I can tell you that these are issues that the assembly, from one assembly to the other, has taken very seriously. To the extent that in the case of multi-choice, the National Assembly has always proposed that as we use our phones, pay as you go, so that you don't just buy bulk purchase for a month. You are there or you are not there. The thing is running, is finished, So it's like a rip-off, And I can assure you that it is still work in progress. I know that at some point we are going to achieve it. I also know that when there are these issues of tariff increase and all that, the National Assembly has also said, stop it until we are able to agree and see the need and necessity for an increase in tariffs. So if you look at the National Assembly, sometimes we act as an opposition itself, to the executive arm of government, because we are with the people.
Very true.
And we are representing directly the people. So the people's pains are our pains. So we are always trying to ensure that at least there is comfort created for our people. And that is what we are caught out to do. In terms of what you're talking about, area councils and all that, you can see that in this dispensation, more development is going to the area councils. More development is going to the area councils. Because in some administrations, the area councils appear as if they were not part of FCT. And you can't have FCT without the area councils. The 6 area councils constitute the FCT, Federal Capital Territory. And so in this administration, we have been able to pull back development to the area councils, the territories of the 6 area councils. And so you can see a new lease of life coming to the people, excitement. I know that I was part of the flag off of 6 roads across the 6 area councils. I was part of the flag off of construction of educational facilities, and rehabilitation of dilapidated educational facilities. And a lot more is coming, and I think that we are doing well. We will carry out our oversight function as judiciously as is expected.
Thank you so much. Let me speak to the last caller on this edition of HallowMace on Radio so that we are able to converse some more on some of our social media platforms. HallowMace on Radio is on X. All you need to do is go on X and look out for HallowMace at HallowMace Africa. You also would have us on Instagram at HallowMace Africa. Facebook, a like on our page will do well at HallowMace. YouTube, HallowMace TV. Our website is www.hallowmaceafrica.org. www.hallowmacenews.online. You can share your news by emailing us info@hallowmaceafrica.org, or you can send an email by hallowmace@gmail.com, and we will take it live. Let's talk to you. Last caller, good morning.
Good morning to you this morning, my brother and Agbebi was there.
Cousin, how you doing? Hit me the bike man, I should think.
Thank you very much. I think this program, as again said, the idea of representing the people. I think the court is coming and you don't pick it. The idea is to represent the
Forgive us.
Please allow me to ask them questions to know more and they hear from what they are doing for us. What I want to ask, first of all,
yes, sir.
I've made this submission, not even last United Assembly of
the 9th Assembly.
About this refinery of the state. There's this lawmaker or a senator that came to this program. I asked him about this refinery. Illegal one. They are working, but the time is illegal. Why can't they join forces together and legalize it, give them whatever thing they need so that they start functioning? The minister said that he's going to put one or two things together. Do some nothing, so that up to now, I don't know how far. Even another one came, I asked him to say the same thing. I did that one outside. And the aspect of this, with me?
Yeah, we are with you, but I'm about to let you go because your 60 seconds has expired.
Okay, the aspect of this, they are not sure how are they representing us. We need this because I will shout about this at 0.5 like this, just about this thing. I know this in past 3 days, they don't make it before they now they push it, but before this, people start crying down, they now say they suspend it.
Okay.
And most of all these increments that have been coming about, how are they doing it to help that Nigeria is not being suffering? The tax, the levy, all these things. And everything where they are being putting money and all this stuff, all of them just keep quiet about it.
Give me the bike man. Give me the bike man.
I want to appeal to them. Anytime all these things come out,
thank you.
Affect the ordinary man.
Thank you, Imi Bike. Imi Bike man, maybe Anderson, you have to look for 2 hours so that we have a sufficient moment. I understand when he's saying calls are coming and we're not picking. As a matter of fact, the honorable member, Dr. Gabriel, and my blueprint correspondent, they don't have enough time. And so I will apologize. But let me quickly have you react to that. At the point, we find that we were thinking by now Nigerians should have started having our refineries work. But it's still, we don't know. So yes. Why can't we legalize those illegal refineries that are doing well?
Yes, talking from institutional knowledge of what has happened, the House of Reps was the first to bring a motion urging the federal government to legalize, train, and improve on what these illegal refineries, as they were called, artisan, It was the House of Reps. And that motion was particularly moved by Right Honorable Uzoma Abonta. And we all supported that motion because it was the right way to go. I can tell you that was what propelled the executive arm to send the vice president to go around and promise that they were going to form cooperatives, and move on from there. Yeah. But where are we today? What we have today is massive destruction and further pollution by even the government agencies that goes to arrest these people and spill this same crude, into to further degrade the environment. So there is an extent to which the parliament can take decisions as to how they can be implemented. Lies with the executive arm of government. So if you talk about the parliament, yes, we have done our best to ensure that some of these things are done so that it can even bring in our local innovation, to producing these finished products, in the oil and gas industry. But if the executive does not follow through, then of course you have to keep repeating and repeating. That's where we are. But for me, I want to tell Nigerians that they need to engage National Assembly. They need to work with National Assembly. They need to be with National Assembly. They need to know what their representatives are doing. If they work in tandem with the National Assembly, they will understand better the much that National Assembly is doing to bring succor and development to Nigeria and our various constituencies that we represent.
A good place to draw a curtain on this edition of HallowMace on radio. I would have wished that Dr. Gabriel and the Blueprint reporter has something to say, but our time is done. I must apologize. But please, just 30 seconds, your last word before we go about the 10th Assembly at 1.
Okay, thank you. My last word about the 10th Assembly, as I earlier said, is that the exercise of constitutional review should be handled with utmost seriousness this time around.
Thank you.
Power needs to be devolved because the center is getting suffocated and we cannot continue with this systemic dysfunction.
Thank you so much. Dr. Gabriel, 30 seconds, please.
Yeah, the National Assembly lately has been immersed in what was named as budget padding, about 6.6 trillion, which was not tied to a particular project and the location was not even known, scattered across 20 ministries. What we are saying right now is that we would rather opine that subsequently the National Assembly should ensure that this kind of shredded budgetary allocations and all that should not be something that we will see in the next appropriation bill.
Thank you so much. Right Honorable Frederick Agbebi, member representing the Keremos Obama Federal Constituency of Bayelsa State and Chairman House Committee on FCT, Area Councils and Auxiliary Matters. Thank you so much for coming.
Great pleasure.
We appreciate you, sir. Dr. Gabriel, Executive Director, Center for Credible Leadership and Citizens Awareness. We appreciate you for coming as well.
Thanks for having me.
Taye Odewale, National Assembly's Blueprint Newspaper Chief Correspondent. We appreciate your moment today with us.
Thank you very much.
Cousin, I'll size with you. Next week, we will have another interesting moment. It will be power. That's what we want to talk about. At some point, we didn't talk some more about the tariff hike in electricity. But we promise you, if you keep a date with us next week, Thursday at exactly 10 a.m., we'll be in your space with another National Assembly member that will be talking to you on power. As a matter of fact, I think that's what is the one in House Committee on Power now. Let's be sure that we keep this conversation on. Follow us on our social media handle, very important, on X at HallowMace Africa, Instagram at HallowMace Africa, and of course, subsequently, you can talk with Sonny Anderson on the numbers 0803-798-1940. Bob Genesis, your cousin on radio, remains my name. Thank you for your time.
The eyes have it.
Our journey has been steady from the advent with crystal clear vision We started off as a news online portal. We subsequently evolved into a magazine, and now on your radio. We do not only bear the name Media House. We practice with the best ethos of our professional calling, presenting facts with objectivity. We are committed and resolute. We are HallowMace. We are the standard bearers. It's HallowMace on radio, dedicated to promotion of legislation.